Hey everybody, I'm your host Elad, and today I'm reporting to you from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm at a Trump tailgate ahead of his rally later today. Let's go talk to some people, see what's going on. Oh, I see you have a sign over here. It said, "I voted because you have no filter." Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here and what it means for you to be out here?
Oh, it means everything. I'm here to support Trump. I think he's doing a wonderful job. He's calling everything like he sees it, and that's just the way I am, too.
What are Trump's biggest accomplishments now that he's been in office for a few years that you really appreciate?
Well, I appreciate him lowering the price of prescriptions because God knows I have to take a couple of really expensive ones, and they may have not gone down that much, but they've gone down enough, so that helped. And then just the booming economy. I've never seen so many help wanted signs in my town, and unfortunately there's not enough workers, so.
I'm glad you brought up healthcare reform because all the Democrats are talking about right now is Medicare for all, and they're really emphasizing this healthcare issue. Do you think they could help with Americans' healthcare needs?
No, they'll bankrupt America doing that, period, flat out. I listened to the debates the other night, and they have absolutely no grounds and obviously no economics class.
So, we were mentioning bankrupting the country, and I know Trump had tax cuts, but he didn't cut spending, and we're still ballooning the deficit a little bit. Is that something you're worried about? Because that's something Republicans used to be very concerned about.
Yes, I am concerned about that, but I do believe that going through government waste and cutting that would be save billions. Literally, there's so much waste. All the committees and
bureaucrats all around.
Oh my God, yeah, and he's not one, so that's another reason I'm here. He's not a bureaucrat. He's a businessman, and I always thought that we either needed a businessman or a veteran, in office.
I'm glad you also mentioned the 2020 debates. Who do you think amongst the Dem is the biggest threat to Trump, if any of them?
Well, I don't think any of them are, but I do believe Kamala Harris. Oddly enough, I was thinking that the other day, but after Tulsi Gabbard last night, I don't know.
Because people forget she was a DA, so she has a long history of being very.
She schooled her, that was for sure. Because bringing up what she's done and what a hypocrite she is. So.
In conclusion, was there anything else you wanted to mention?
No, that's it.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I also know the media often says bad things about Trump. Do you guys trust the media?
Not at all.
Do you guys trust the media?
Not at all.
Not a chance.
I know one of the stories that they were talking about this year, or since really Trump got elected, was the Russian interference in our election. A lot of people say Putin was working with Trump, but do you guys think Russia interfered in our elections here?
I don't believe so.
In any capacity, you don't think like the Russians tried to interfere?
As a general rule of thumb, I don't think that Russia interfered to the degree that the media puts out. But I think just like China, Russia, any other government,
everybody's going to try.
Yeah, any government that you would consider a foreign, historically foreign enemy of the United States would attempt to do something like that.
I wouldn't put it past Putin.
I wouldn't put it past the Russians or China or North Korea or any other government, Iran, that has the capacity from an information technology standpoint to insert their point of view or their opinion into our election system in some way, shape, or form, to try to craft, whatever it is, whatever message they want to send to try to manipulate voters, like us.
I wanted to follow up on that point, though. I know at one point Trump met with Putin, and then when Trump brought up the point about Russian interference, Putin denied it, and then Trump said he believes Putin. Are you worried about that?
I'm sure that statement probably comes from a good place and trying to generate goodwill between himself and Putin. I'm sure to a degree, though, in his head, I'm sure Trump believes that there's things that are happening. There's things that are happening with Russia or any of the other countries I listed off earlier where they would try to impact us in some way. I don't think Trump truly believes that. It's just my personal opinion. I don't have anything to base that on. But
the media is mostly espousing opinions as well. So.
Right. The media. Right. The media has. They have something to gain by pushing that narrative. Of Russian interference to try to. Make it look as if Donald Trump won the presidency illegitimately. Yeah. That's been the whole message that.
And you obviously don't think that Trump won illegitimately.
I don't think so.
No, you think he's obviously a legitimate president.
No. The
silent majority.
Exactly. exactly.
And one final question I wanted to ask you guys. Trump seems to really like Fox News, sometimes to the point where he's like live tweeting Fox and Friends
Fox
and
and
shows
Friends,
like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do you guys like that, or do you think that's an issue that Trump's, sometimes just waking up, looking at Fox and Friends, whatever they're saying, he's kind of live tweeting about? Anybody want to opine?
I think so. Trump has said that he's always watched Fox and Friends. I think that's like his number one thing to wake up to in the morning. It's just as easy for him as when he wakes up in the morning. First thing he does is tweet. He watches Fox and Friends over his breakfast.
So it's not a bad thing because it is Fox News and
No, I know. Fox News is definitely a right-leaning news organization, just in the same way that CNN or MSNBC are totally left-leaning news
like you wouldn't
organizations.
want Obama to have live tweeted CNN's morning show. I don't know it because who cares? But
Well, Obama never did anything like that. He didn't have the social media presence that Trump did. Trump's crafting a completely new way to conduct politics with his messaging through Twitter and things like that. So this is very unprecedented. I'm sure presidents that come in the future will have their own personal leanings. Like, hey, I like MSNBC
I don't
in
know
the morning.
if I want our future presidents constantly live tweeting these, early morning shows. But did you have any opinion on that too?
Oh, well, it just, the guy wakes up and watches TV the same as I do in the morning, and if he chooses to watch Fox and Friends, so be it. And if Obama had done it, the same deal. He's still a man, He puts his pants on the same way that we do.
Macs and Diet Coca-Cola,
Right. So it's just he's just a man,
It's
just
one
like
of the few
us.
things that's appealing, I think, to a lot of people about how he conducts his normal life. He watches TV just like that, like us. He likes McDonald's.
Like Ocho Cinco.
Quintessential American,
Absolutely. And just to finish up, was there anything else you guys wanted to say or mention?
Trump 2020.
Trump 2020.
Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. We're out here today in Ohio for this Trump rally. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you guys are out here and what it means for you guys to be out here?
I support President Trump 100%. He's doing everything that he promised he would do, and therefore I had to show up.
Yeah. And what do you think?
I'm kind of neutral on it. She's my grandma, so I'm kind of just supporting her and then trying to learn because, I'm new to the whole, adulting thing. So I'm just trying to learn about, Trump and, what he can offer.
I commend you for getting involved in the political process. I think it's really important. I want to follow up with you because you said that he was keeping his promises.
Yes.
I know one of his slogans is like promises made and then promises kept. Can you tell me a couple of the accomplishments that you think he's done that you could hang your MAGA hat on and say, I really like that Trump did this, this, and this?
He's helped with the senior citizens by giving them a raise, something they hadn't seen in a few years. He's got the wall, the money for the wall now. He's done everything about the deportation status and immigration status. He's doing the best thing he can possible.
Yeah.
He's trying his best, and he's holding up to his word.
I know that a lot of the time Trump complains about the media and that he's getting a lot of unfair coverage. Do you think that he's getting unfair coverage, and do you as a Trump supporter trust the media?
No, I don't trust the media too much at all. And yeah, I'm not only a Trump supporter, I'm a Trumplican.
A Trumplican?
I'm a
Wait,
Trumplican.
can I add about the media part?
Yeah.
Okay, so as a millennial, right? I think it's a little weird that our president tweets as much as he does.
I think it's great.
I support him and all his things that he does, whatever. But I do find it a little strange. Like nowadays, our president just is out here tweeting. I'm like, okay.
Do you think that of the other politicians too, though? Because I know the leftist sweetheart right now, the leftist darling is AOC, and AOC is all over Twitter. So do you think that of all the politicians? Because I could agree on that part. I don't want to see any of these politicians on Twitter. It irks me the whole way around.
I'm like, this is social media. This isn't how you get out your political standpoints.
I think it's been a very efficient way for Trump to be heard and get around the media that he feels is manipulating the things he says. So is that what do you think about him being able to reach his supporters
Anything he says,
directly?
They will twist it. Anything he says, they will twist it. If he says sky's blue, they will say he lied and it's green.
So most recently, I know he got into a little squabble with Elijah Cummings. I think it's the senator from Baltimore, and he said Baltimore was rat infested and things like that. Do you think the media twisted that into saying that he's racist, or maybe that is a little bit of a racist
He's not
remark?
racist at all. And in fact, they showed a clip of 1999 when Elijah Cummings was talking about how rat infested it was. So, Trump's just telling it like it is.
Yeah. Do you think Trump's an ally to these the black community, the Hispanic community, that often think or feel like he might be racist or xenophobe? Because that's how the other side paints him.
He's an ally for them all the way. All the way. He wants, if you are a true immigrant and an American citizen immigrant, he's back for you 100%, but come in and do it legally like my ancestors did.
Absolutely. And just to finish up, was there anything else you guys wanted to mention?
Go Trump. Pence, 2020.
I don't know, on the race part, I do personally feel like there's a lot of like segregation in the whole like who's voting for Trump that is, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, like so.
I wanted to just point out a statistic that I think you'd find really interesting. I think around 90% of the black people who vote end up voting for Democrats. Like, do you think that type of overwhelming majority is a concern, or do you think that the Democrats are just that good for those black communities where they're voting for them in an overwhelming majority like that?
I think maybe it's more of like being open-minded about stuff. So like, I personally know someone who is black and he will not vote for Trump just because it's Trump. Like, and so because it's Republican. So I feel like we all need to do our research.
Yeah.
Maybe open our minds.
Thank you guys so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. Hey everybody, I hope you guys are enjoying the episode. If you guys are really enjoying the episode, hit up my Patreon, hit up my PayPal. The links will be in the description. Support independent media, independent journalism. Help me bring you guys more content like this. Enjoy the rest of the show. Out here today in Ohio for the Trump rally. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here and what it means for you to be out here?
To support our president and to get rid of the snowflakes.
And what do you especially like about the president? What's Trump accomplished in the past few years where you're like, Trump, I really appreciate this, I could hang my MAGA hat on it?
The economy, tax cuts, all the rules that he cut during the first, couple weeks in president.
Healthcare, right? The veteran, the VA, and we look at all these trade deals that haven't went through, and why have they not passed? We've got the North America trade deal, we've got the Chinese trade deal, we've got the Southeast Asia trade deal, we've got the Central and South America trade deals, but none of this has been made law because we're waiting on the Democrats. What have they done? They're blocking this. See what I'm saying? So tax cuts and deregulation is great, but it only gets you so far. And then the real meat on the bone is these trade deals that are not going through Congress. And normally a treaty is ratified by the Senate, but because these have revenue involved, they have to go through both the House and the Senate. And Democrats want us to bleed. So, yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to follow up there because we're talking about how great the economy's doing. We're talking about the deregulation. Yeah, low unemployment. Yeah, low black and Hispanic unemployment. And I hear all that, the tax cuts. Here's the thing. Trump didn't cut spending, and we have a ballooning deficit. And we had a ballooning deficit under Obama, and we complained about it. But what about Trump's ballooning deficit right now? Is that an issue?
Well, the spending bills originate in the House. When's the last time we had a budget passed? We went through all 8 years of.
But he has to sign it. Trump has to sign it, right?
That's true, and that's true. And I'm not letting him off. And I'm not letting him off the hook. I know he's trying to make deals, but at the end of the day, $23 trillion is when our economy implodes. That's when the U.S. dollar implodes. That's when the whole world looks to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies to challenge the U.S. dollar for value.
Well, I think it comes down to cutting spending, right? And do you think there's any area where it would make sense for Trump to cut spending in any capacity?
How about 1% across the board? Why don't we start there? Why don't we all agree that we need to cut something? We'll cut 1% out of everything.
Would you be open to cutting any spending out of? Yeah.
A larger cut than it sounds like 1% across the board.
I think as I understand, some of the big budget items now, including both discretionary and non-discretionary spending, is Medicaid. Medicaid and Medicare is taking a ton of money. Social Security is costing a ton of money, and the military is costing a ton of money. So should we cut out of any of those three?
Not our military.
$200 trillion in unfunded liabilities, which is Medicare, Social Security. Yep. It has to change.
I want to follow up on the military stuff specifically. We spend more on our military than like the next 5 countries combined. I might be misquoting that, but something around there. We spend a ton of money on our military. You don't think in any capacity we could cut some of that spending? We own more than half the world's aircraft carriers. Like
my son was a Marine. Absolutely not.
spending.
Yeah,
No.
but wait a minute. What is in law? What's in the Constitution that the government that the federal government is entitled to spend money on? In the military is number one.
So we're out here today for the Trump rally. You guys are all wearing the Trump flags.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me a little bit more about why you guys are out here and what it means for you guys to be out here?
Absolutely. I am a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan, and his policies and everything else have allowed me, as a injured combat veteran, has allowed me to go to the VA and actually get care outside of the VA due to the long wait times and everything else.
Yeah.
So it has helped me personally, and I know it has helped a lot of my brothers and sisters in arms as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for your service. Did you guys have any quick chime in?
No, nothing to add to what he said. You know, we're just here to support the 45th President of the United States. We love everything he's done for the country. We're both veterans. The three of us, we're friends. We love Donald Trump, and that's what we're here to support him. You know, it's great.
I know in 2012, Obama won Ohio. In 2016, Trump did by a slim margin. How are we going to keep Ohio red? Do you guys have a plan on how we're going to keep Ohio red?
Well, you know, it starts here in Cincinnati, right? So he lost
Best city in the state.
right. He lost the major city centers, Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, things like that. So I believe focusing in these areas to help flip them red, or just to get his message out, is going to help a lot of people come to our side of the aisle, just because it's a lot of common sense policies and things like that I think a lot of folks are going to agree with, just on the policy level alone.
I also know on the Democrat side, what I think we're hearing a lot of is Medicare for all. It's all about health insurance and trying to get those premiums and expenses lower. We don't hear a lot of that talk out of the Republicans. Why not? Are you guys satisfied with the health care that you guys have going on? Is this an issue that you guys worry about? No worries.
Yeah, so I've had government-run health care with the VA.
Were you pleased with it?
Not really, up until he just signed the CARE Act a couple months ago. So with that being said, it took me a decade to get an MRI on my back using government-run healthcare. So coming from me personally, somebody that has used it to a great extent, I'm not so sure that
You wouldn't be sold on a government-run program, healthcare program. You don't think they do a good job giving everybody healthcare?
Not at all. Not at all. I've seen how they do it for us. Our healthcare in the military is already socialized as it is.
And not good. And we have Medicaid too. And as I understand it, not good. We have Is there supplemental insurance for VA for the VA as well?
My personal insurance from work helps to cover some of the extra costs as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're out here today in Ohio for the Trump rally. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here and what it means for you to be out here?
Yeah, we're just excited about it. The president, actually has our thoughts in mind. And, we're about lower taxes. We're all about the fact of building the wall. And the things that he stands for is things that we value greatly, and that's why we're here today.
I know Obama had the slim edge in 2012 in Ohio, and then Trump had the slim edge in 2016. How is Trump going to keep the edge in 2020? Because it is a swing state that matters a lot for Trump.
No, that's a great question. It's just for him to continue to battle for us on a daily basis and to continue to do what he's doing on a regular basis. And that is to lower taxes and continue to build the wall and to go in there for the issues that mattered a lot to us and to go in there and continue to fight every day for us.
Yeah. Is there anything else on your Trump wish list beyond low unemployment and putting in a lot of conservative judges? Is there anything else on the wish list that you want to see him get done moving forward if he does win in 2020 or for the rest of his term now?
Well, I'd like to see him continue with building the wall. I just feel that immigration is a big thing, and I really feel that he needs to continue to push and build the wall, and then also continue the low taxation. I think that he needs to do that and lower drug costs, which he has lowered the drug costs. I think that's real important, but those three issues are probably important to us.
I know Trump often talks about the fake news media. Do you guys, as Trump supporters, trust the media?
No, not at all. And you can just turn on Rachel Maddow or turn on Chris Matthews, and you can just see how biased that they are. I mean, very, very biased. And so no, we don't trust the media at all. They don't even give him a fair shake. And if they would just give him a fair shake just a little bit of the time. I've always told my wife, I said, I think that President Trump could go out here and hand the Democrats $1 million, and they would be all upset and mad at him because they didn't give him $1.1 million. I mean, there's just nothing that he can do to make them agree or like what he's doing.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on that though. They're talking a lot about Russian collusion, and while Mueller didn't find any Russian collusion, there did seem to be Russian interference in the election. Do you think there was Russian interference in the election?
I do think there was Russian interference in the election, and I think there has been for years and years. I mean, probably the last 40, 50 years there's been Russian influence, and I think they'll do it again in 2020.
Yeah. One thing I was concerned about is when Trump met with Putin, he talked to him about the Russian interference, and then Putin denied it, and he said, "I believe Putin." Is that any concern to you?
Not really. I mean, you know, he's got to kind of run a fine line there.
You think he was trying to sweeten Putin up a little bit? Because he has a lot of these off-the-cuff remarks, I feel like, with North Korea and Putin. And while I'm not sure he means it, he's just willing to say these things. And I don't know if do you think that's displaying the right message to powerful former KGB world leaders like Putin?
I think it may have just come across the wrong way. I don't think that it interjected it the way that he probably wanted to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And now, just in conclusion, was there anything else you want to mention?
No, I'm excited about this. I'm glad the president's coming here, you know, to see us here in Ohio, and just hope that he keeps the pedal to the metal and continues doing what he's doing, you know, for us to continue fighting for the people out here in America.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. I really appreciate it. I wanted to follow up. Trump often pounces on the media and calls them fake news. Do you guys trust the media?
No. Even all the way down to the Weather Channel. You can see the Weather Channel when they have the guy in the canoe and somebody comes walking by. You know, if it bleeds, it leads. And, you know, if you're not selling papers, it's a business. It's a business entity, and you strive for revenue. Absolutely.
So one thing that I'm a little bit concerned about is that sometimes I see Trump live tweeting like Fox and Friends. And that stuff concerns me because who knows what Fox and Friends is throwing on there? And that can't be the source where he's getting his news, right? Just live tweeting them in the morning. What do you think about that? And do we trust that part of the media as well?
Well, I believe that Trump is a little more media savvy. And I think he's toying. I think he's
4D chess, because a lot of his supporters say it's 4D chess.
If it's 4D chess, but clearly, he'll throw something out there. The media pounces, and a week later they look dumb. And do I wish he hadn't said some things? Sure. Is that who made him who he is? Absolutely. So who the hell am I to say? You know.
Absolutely. One last thing I wanted to ask about. I know at the last Trump rally, there's a lot of tension between the supporters and the squad, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and such. And the crowd chanted "Send her back." Yeah. Do you think that's a good thing to chant? Will we be hearing any of that later?
We're gonna chant. What is it say?
Trump 2020. What are you guys gonna chant?
Chant "Vote her out" or something like
that. Vote her out.
You know, hateful people get hateful responses. Yeah, it's like this guy up here, and he gets up there with his love, and he tells everybody, "You're going to hell. You're going to hell. You're going to hell. You're a queer. Cut your hair. You're going to hell." You're not gonna catch a lot of flies that way.
But you're not gonna chant "Send her back" later.
No, I don't really believe in send her back. Same as I don't believe in term limits. They say, "Oh, we need term limits." We got term limits. It's called an election. Get off your ass and go vote.
Sure, absolutely. And just to finish up, was there anything else you want to mention?
Trump 2020.
Anything else you want
Trump
to mention?
2020.
Thank you guys so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. It doesn't seem like Trump trusts the media. Do you trust the media?
You know, I get my news where I get my news. You do YouTube. I watch YouTube some for news. I watch other things for news. But the mainstream media, honestly, going back in my lifetime, I'm 67 years old. It's grown old. It's grown old. The Main Street, you know, the three networks and BBC. You know, you get the BBC slant and stuff. Do I trust them? I get my news other places.
It's a good answer. I also wanted to follow up on that and ask, Trump's been in office for a few years now. Are there any big accomplishments that you could say, like, hey, Trump did this and I really appreciate it, or Trump did this that I really appreciate it?
Well, I think Trump overall, I think the tax breaks, no matter what people think about them, are helping people. They help me. You know, I'm to the point where I'm on a fixed income. I know what it takes. I've got an X amount. I got a pie that's this big, and I want to make it go as far as I can. And I think that was one accomplishment. But I think overall, Trump's major accomplishments are his tenacity. You know, he's going for things. Democrats have to realize that's his agenda. That's what he won on. You know, to fight him tooth and nail for 2.5 years, it just gets old.
I wanted to follow up with you on the tax cuts part. While some people say it helps stimulate the economy, if you don't cut spending following up those tax cuts, it just balloons the deficit. And I know Republicans used to complain a lot about that deficit. The deficit's ballooned under Trump as well as it has under Obama. Do we not care about the deficit anymore?
I think we're probably so far into it that unless there was a complete austerity program. I mean, I'm talking.
Or at least flat. We're not even flat anymore. We're still increasing year over year.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is the only thing that could do it, because we have people right now that are expecting money every time that, they just, and if it's not there, then, that's where the money's going. They say, it's only for discretionary spending. It's like local government. Give me the police, give me the fire, pick up my garbage, and get out of my way. With the government in Washington, keep me safe, have a standing army, keep me safe, secure the borders, because I think in my lifetime,
every president promised that they'd secure the border too. So it's been going back for some time.
Well, I'm telling you one thing: it could be done in 15 minutes if you had a Congress that really cared about the Americans and not the world.
And just one last question. There are a ton of different, very progressive candidates running against Donald Trump right now. Do you think any of them are a big threat to him?
I don't know. I don't know how things have changed. I know in my lifetime, just local politics, even where I live, the neighborhood I live, has changed dramatically. So I know there's changes that are going to come, but you got to have a way to. I mean, you were talking about the deficit. Okay, let's just add 200 more trillion to it,
Yeah, I mean, Trump's still ballooning it, but so anyone specifically that you could name that you think would be a big threat? Maybe Joe Biden would be the biggest threat, Elizabeth Warren. Who do you think would be the biggest threat to Trump in 2020, if anybody?
No. I truly believe that it'll come down to somebody like, I think the two women. I think Kamala Harris and I think Warren.
Hey everybody, thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode. Please let me know what you thought of the questions down in the comments. If this is your first time here, guys, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys really enjoyed the content, hit up my Patreon, hit up my PayPal. The links will be in the description. Help support independent journalism, independent media, help fund more trips like this so I can bring you guys more content. Until next time, everybody, stay barely informed.